Let me welcome you to episode 3 of season 4 of the L2X chart. If you have not yet seen the first 2 episodes of season 4, please go have a look at them. And if you've seen them already, come along with me on this next chart. My name is Baye, your regular host. Let me start this chart with a quote from Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire. He says, "I look for 3 things in hiring people. The first is personal integrity. The second is intelligence. And the third is a high energy level. But if you don't have the first, the other 2 will kill you." I like that statement. This is how we begin this episode on the foundations of trust. In this statement, Warren Buffett identifies 2 key components that are foundational to trust: character and competence. Leaders who have high trust are strong in these 2 foundations. Character refers to the basic aspect of a person that relates to what defines their values, deeply held beliefs, and behavior. It shows in how they speak, what language they use, what they do when no one is present, and how they treat people. Competence refers to their abilities, skills, knowledge, etc., and how these reflect in their execution and results. In an article by Jessalyn Stoner, she identifies 5 levels of trust. These include shared values, integrity, concern for others, competence, and accountability. Stephen Covey, however, discusses a similar concept of the 5 levels, but calls them the 4 cores of trust. These are integrity, intent, capabilities, and results. I will discuss the foundational elements under the following headings. 1 is values. 2nd is intent. 3rd is capabilities. And the 4th is accountability and results. Now let me reflect on values. Each person comes to the party with their own deeply held beliefs that drive their behavior and actions. Shared values build common ground for relationships and reduce conflicts and confrontation. And when people have shared values, they tend to trust each other more, and there is less suspicion. When people have shared values, they tend to understand better why the other person does what they do, and so are more likely to give them the benefit of the doubt. Values determine what people are willing to stand for and will not compromise. It determines how they behave on a consistent basis. It determines how much they are willing to trust others and what they trust them with. It has often been said that a man or woman who stands for nothing falls for anything. That is how critical values are to the subject of trust. One of the critical foundational values is integrity. Integrity refers to personal wholeness, personal alignment with one's values, and the level of honesty and ethics demonstrated by an individual. It is hard to trust someone who is known to be a liar, except in politics where that happens. When people have integrity, they are seen as people who can be relied on and who will walk the talk and keep their word. They are perceived as predictable in what they will do and not do. Clearly, whilst everybody may not totally believe in the same things, people with integrity are highly valued. The next foundational element of trust is intent. The actions people take are motivated by intent. Intent can also be described as motives and agenda. When people are described as having ulterior motives, it always evokes a sense of something negative and sinister and erodes trust. It is not uncommon, therefore, to find that different people are pursuing something, but each of them have their own agenda or motive for which they are doing it. A typical scenario is where 2 people are working on a project, but one of them has a motive to use the project to advance their own personal interest. A resultant behavior is that the person will be working towards the project, producing a particular result, and could also present it in such a way that they take credit for the entire project and alienate others from any credit for what they have done. When we suspect a hidden agenda from somebody, or we don't believe they are acting in our best interest, we are suspicious about everything they say and do. Both integrity and intent are matters of character. Intent also reflects in our genuine care for others. We all tend to trust people who treat us with genuine concern. Jessalyn puts it this way: people need to believe you are genuinely concerned for their welfare, not just your own personal gain. When we believe someone genuinely cares about us, we are willing to open our hearts and become vulnerable. Trust and vulnerability go hand in hand. We do not really trust until we take down the walls. The interesting thing about trust is that it goes both ways. The more you genuinely care about others' well-being, the more they care about yours. It doesn't mean you need to be friends with everyone, but there needs to be a sense of personal connection. It is in this level that loyalty is forged. The next foundational element is competence and capabilities. These are the abilities we have that inspire confidence, and they include our talents, our attitudes, our skills, our knowledge, and our style. When anybody is trusted with the responsibilities to do a job, one of the first things taken into consideration is the competence of the person to do the job. When you go to see a doctor, he or she may have integrity and good motives, but unless he or she is trained and skilled to perform the task at hand, there will be no credibility. If you are looking for someone to put a plan for the electrification of a major project, you will first of all look for an electrical engineer who has a demonstrable qualification and experience to take on a project of that magnitude. You may probably take the testimonies of clients of similar projects they have done. You might even go and inspect a similar project they have done. If, on the contrary, someone came along to bid for the project and you asked them for their CV and you found that their entire experience and qualification have been in finance and banking, you will not have an iota of trust that they can do the job. Sometimes you find people who have a qualification but do not show the competence to do the job they hold the qualification to be able to do. This creates distrust on an ongoing basis. In leadership roles, leaders' competence doesn't always mean that the leader has to themselves have all of the answers, but they must have the ability to pull a team together that does. The fourth element I would like to discuss are the twin elements of results and accountability. Being accountable is an admission that we all hold whatever we are responsible for in trust. There are various stakeholders to whom we are accountable. We need to be accountable to the people we report to. We have to be accountable to the shareholders. We must be accountable to our clients. And we have to be accountable to our staff. Leaders who are accountable tend to be trusted. Leaders who are accountable hold themselves up to be judged. Leaders who are accountable follow through on their commitments and show up when they are needed. They can be relied on to complete tasks on time. Leaders who find accountability difficult are the ones who place their authority above their responsibility, and they tend to build a culture of impunity and so tend not to be seen as authentic. Leaders hold themselves accountable, carry the message, I have nothing to hide. This sense of transparency breeds trust. At the heart of accountability is results. When we deliver the results we commit to, the outcome demonstrates accountability and puts us out as one who keep their word and deliver what they promise. A track record of results builds credibility. When people speak to others about someone and portray them as someone who has a track record of delivering superior results, they instantly gain credibility. Clearly, trust is not only about what we do or how we behave. It is built on the foundation of who we are. There is a leadership paradigm that centers on leaders acting their way and staging everything they do. The importance of trust and the foundations on which it's built will show that leaders need to be grounded in their values, their intent, motives, and how these translate into their behavior, decisions, and relationships. Let me wrap up this chat by saying that if you have not seen the episode 1 and 2 in this series, make it a point to have a look at them. Believe me, there's so much to learn and reflect on in this series on trust. So here is what I'd like to request you to do. First, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button so that you do not miss any of these series. Like, comment to get more people seeing it, and share this video as widely as you can. And if you have any questions or reflections, please share them with us. In my next chat, I will be painting a picture of what high trust environments look like, and you don't want to miss that chat. I'm Baye on the L2X chat. See you soon.